Welcome to I Lecture Online. So what happens when you do multiple random walks, each of a certain number of tosses? For example, we do k number of random walks of n tosses each. And let's say that in this example, we let k equals 10 and n equals 10. So we do 10 separate random walks. In each case, we do 10 tosses. If it's a head, we go to the right one space. If it's a tail, we go to the left one space. Now we realize that the square root of 10 is equal to 3.16 if n is equal to 10. So the rule says that if k becomes very large, now I realize that k equals 10, that's not a large number, but at least it gives us an idea. If k becomes very large, then the root mean square displacements, what is that? Well, we take the difference between tails and heads, we square that number, we sum them all up, and divide by the number of tosses. And if we do enough of these, if k becomes large enough, then that will approach the square root of n. So in other words, that even though n itself may be a relatively small number, if we do it over and over and over and over again, 10 tosses each, then if we do the root mean square of all of those random walks, we will still get a result that is very close to the square root of n for a single random walk. Now, if we do a single one, you could have a large difference between 3.16 and the difference between heads and tails. However, if we do it many, many times, the root mean square calculation that will then approach the square root of n. So here numerically, let's take a look. So we're going to do 10 random walks, 10 tosses each, and in each case we had a certain number of heads and a certain number of tails. The difference between them is going to be head minus tails. You can call it tails minus heads, head minus tails, it doesn't matter. I did head minus tails because heads was in a positive direction and tails was in a negative direction. So here you can see that 4 minus 6 is minus 2, 8 minus 2 is 6, 5 minus 5 is 0, and so forth. So these are all the deltas between the number of heads and the number of tails in each of the 10 random walks. Then we calculated the root mean square of the displacements. We took each of the displacements, we squared them, we summed them all up, divided by n being the number of tosses in each random walk, and guess what happened? So we took all these values right here, we squared them all, we summed them all up, and so that's what you get. When you sum all those up, you get 100. We divide by the number of tosses in each random walk. That's the square root of 10, and that's equal to 3.16. And it turns out in this particular case, the result was exactly what we should get theoretically. Now, normally that will not be the case. Normally we'd have to do many, many more random walks, perhaps 100 of them, 10 tosses, to get very close to that value. It just so happened when I did it 100, when I tossed it, when I did 10 random walks and 10 tosses each, I ended up with the exact result. Of course, normally not be the case, but at least numerically you can see how it actually works. That is how it's done, and that's why if you're only going to do a few tosses, you must have many, many random walks to get close to that theoretical value, the expected value of how much you will deviate from the point of origin. How far away will you be? About 3 units if you do it many, many times over. And that is what we mean by the large number of random walks will get you close to that theoretical value.